Yeah, I wanted to share something with you that happened recently. A funny thing, I hear the comedians, they tell these stand-up things. They stand up and they tell these monologues, and they say, a funny thing happened to me on the way to the TV station. Or a funny thing happened wherever. Well, a funny thing happened to me on the way to the stove. It really did. I had supper going. I decided to take one of those pies that makes its own crust. You ever make those? Oh, you just put all your stuff in and you mix it up and you pour it over in a glass. I mean, how hard can it be? You cook it and it's all there and you just boil it. And Tate loves them. Well, how hard can that be? Well, what I did, I grabbed a bowl. I went over to the stove and I turned the meat. I already had frying. Well, I dug out the cookbook. I got 3 eggs out of the icebox. Made sure they were fresh. Cracked them into a little bowl and checked them. And I always check my eggs. They're bought from the store, but you can get a bad one in anything. So I always check my eggs. All right, the pot on the stove started boiling over where I had potatoes cooking, so I ran over there to see about that. I turned it down. Well, I got back to my pie. I glanced at the cookbook, and I put in a can of milk, 3 cups self-rising flour, and some other stuff, and I mixed it up, and I thought, well, golly, that's thick. So I poured some more milk in, we never do just what it says anyway. And I run back over and I turned the meat over again. I put the lid on the skillet, checked on my pot, got my bread, checked my bread. And I just went on fixing supper, and I stirred this stuff up. I poured it in a glass bowl. And I put it in the oven. It's got a glass stove on it. I put it in the oven. I set it on 350, 20 minutes. Well, I'm over there and I went on cooking supper. Well, I thought, I need to just, do y'all look at your stuff? I just look at my stuff. I walked by and I looked, and here was my pie. It was just getting bigger and bigger, and I tell you, it just got bigger and bigger, and I just thought, well, maybe it's going to go, sometimes there'll maybe be a little baking powder or something in it too much, and maybe it gets on and it'll go and it'll go flat. And I thought, well, like a souffle, it's going well, maybe not. Well, it cooked and it got bigger and bigger, and there it was, and I thought, oh. So I thought, well, something's wrong with that. Yeah. Pies don't make a big old mound. I mean, that just ain't the way it is. Well, Tate was sitting in the living room, and he looked at it. I got it out, and he said, oh, you made a cake. And I thought, no. And it really looked like, do you remember when we were kids and we'd go to this science fair, and all of us did it, tried to make that little volcano thing, so that you can show, trying to win the science fair in 2nd and 3rd grade. Well, that's what it looked like. It looked like a volcano. And he kept on about what a nice pie was, cake. He called it cake. I didn't tell him it was pie. No, I didn't. So, I took my sour cream and I mixed a little sugar in it, and I stirred it up. I waited on it to get cool while I was cooking my supper. It got kind of cool, and I smeared that over the top of it. Well, when it got cold, it made nice icing on my little volcano. It looked like snow on the peak. It looked like the mountains, I thought if you went up Branson or somewhere up to the mountains, that's what it looked like. Well, I couldn't figure out. I thought, oh, something is not right. But he went on about what a good cake it looked like. What I said, Tate. He said, well, I want a piece of that cake. And I thought, oh, no. That can't be fit to eat. And bless his heart, he ate his supper. He cut him a piece of cake, and the poor thing choked it down. I looked at it, and I went, ugh. Still looked like a mountain to me. So I got my recipe book out and I got to looking at it and what I had done. Now, ladies, I know y'all will never do this. I was just going at a run, and there was on that page was my pie recipe, and on the other page was another recipe that called for 3 cups of flour. My pie called for 3 tablespoons of flour. So Tate ate the mud cake. He did. But I thought I'd share that with you tonight. It was just a funny thing, as I say, that just happened to me on the way to the stove. This is Daryl Jeter at Daryl's Little Corner.